Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're once again going to have a 1v1 on Angoville. Our heroes one more time are going to be Mr. Cruzz, this time around, switching it over to the Soviet forces in the blue. And his opponent for the third time is going to be Mr. HOI-PauL.a.D, playing once again as the Austere faction in the red. So, we saw the first game being taken by Cruzz, PauL.a.D coming back on the second game with his Austere faction to win. Against, of course, Cruzz's US forces. So this time around on the third game, we see PauL.a.D repeating the Austere, hoping that they can lead them to victory. And Cruzz is switching it over to the Soviets to see if he can win it with them this time instead of the US. So, should be a hell of a match. Both players at, elimination's doorstep at this stage of the competition. Both having lost a series in the winner's bracket, being knocked down to the loser's bracket and forced to face each other to continue on in the tournament. So, whoever wins moves on. Whoever loses is now knocked out completely. But anyways, I'm repeating myself. Let's just see what's going on in the game. Now, the most important thing that we're seeing here is that PauL.a.D is going again for a sniper. Tier 1 Gren into sniper. So, very aggressive sniper opening. We'll see if it works wonderfully like last time. I mean, we saw that other sniper. Jeez, I don't even remember how many kills I got, and well over 30 something, but we'll see. Cruzz, for his part, though, is getting conscripts. 3 conscripts to start off with. We'll see if he goes the relatively, I would say, popular route of getting another combat engineer right now and then using that to tech. Or if he just continues to build conscripts, and to answer that, Cruzz goes for more conscripts. So no tier 1, at least not a quick one. So we'll see what happens. Conscripts over on the left-hand side, though, getting harassed here by the sniper. Grenadier squad's moving up to support the sniper. Sniper takes a little bit of damage there in the process, but manages to pick up 2 kills on that conscript squad and forces them to retreat, as they were now at a severe disadvantage on a 4-on-4 with the Gren squad, which had a sniper supporting them. So definitely not going to win that. Gren's and sniper over on the right-hand side now. The conscripts move up. They realize the sniper is right there. Sniper takes a shot but misses, as the conscripts instantly retreat, realizing, yeah, that is a losing fight. Let's get the hell out of here. Combat engineers on the right-hand side, managing to capture that fuel point for Mr. Cruzz before getting the hell out of the way as the Grens and the sniper move in the direction. And on the far left-hand side, more conscripts for Cruzz, just capturing territory. So Cruzz does end up going for a second combat engineer squad, which, currently on the field right now. Conscripts on the left-hand side going to be engaging Pios and Grens. The Pios are coming up for a flank. The conscripts are not even focusing on them, so the Pios will close the distance at full strength and full firepower. Now the conscripts focus on them, which may be a little bit too late. They're going to take a lot of damage up close. You can see the SMGs doing their work right there. Second conscript squad does move up to help. Sorry about that. Probably gonna have to sneeze again. I only sneezed once, and usually they come in pairs. Anyways, the Pios did take quite a beating, managing to inflict a lot of punishment on the conscript squad, getting it down to very low health. The Gren squad capitalizing on that and doing quite a bit of damage, bringing that conscript squad down to 2 men. However, with the support of another conscript squad in Ura forward and more conscripts just rushing in that direction, the Germans are forced away. They are forced to retreat. Pio squad almost gets taken out on the retreat. We had a combat engineer squad for Cruzz along the path, waiting for them on the retreat path. However, they are not as experienced, I suppose, as the conscripts at shooting and are unable to finish the job. However, now PauL.a.D manages to return the favor and actually execute one of the combat engineer squads for Cruzz, as the sniper takes a shot at it on retreat and manages to nail a good hit. Sniper is forced to retreat, is at about half health now, needs to get healed up, but of course that requires that med bunker, which is not coming out just yet. Back at base though, Cruzz is going to finally go for tech, and that is instead going to be tier 2, which is why he didn't go for the quick tier 1, which, against the Austere is a little bit more difficult, I suppose, to pull off due to those Fausts, even though it can be quite devastating. MG42 is on the field for PauL.a.D, getting some shots into that house as the conscripts just pop out. And what was I looking at? Oh yeah, that he got another conscript squad. So we have 5 conscript squads in total for Cruz. I suppose essentially replacing his lost combat engineer squad, but deciding instead to, you know, replace it with conscripts to have both more fighting capacity and I suppose more bodies for the sniper to shoot at before your squad gets wiped out. So, you know, combat engineers kind of susceptible to getting shot one at a time. Conscripts moving over to the right. They're going to run into a Grand Squad. The Grand Squad quickly forces them to cancel that sandbag that they were attempting to lay down. And they are going to duke it out at the point. Thankfully, though, the positioning for Cruz allows them to actually capture the point at the same time that they're fighting. So, by that guy right there at the very edge, he manages to continue to fight in cover and still capping. So, excellent positioning right there. Up on the left-hand side, conscripts retreating, Grants engaging. The sniper is currently back at base, has gotten finally healed up as we did see the med bunker going down for PauL.a.D. He does not want the sniper to accidentally die to a stray bullet or two. Far left-hand side, conscripts capping. Right-hand side, Grants decapping that strategic point. Well, capping it really, but they didn't finish the cap as they backpedaled into the house because the conscripts were going to go for it. Conscripts do end up retreating as they, you know, took some health damage there back at base. Still no medics, so, you know, wasn't really going to help them too much. And the conscripts over on the right-hand side, just sitting there on the field, not doing too much right now. Demo charge does get laid down for Cruz. A very interesting decision at this stage. Could potentially pick up a nice kill here. Sniper is moving in that direction, although it shifts and is now going towards the center. Left-hand side, we do have Grants capturing some territory with the Pios behind them. And conscripts go for the munitions, as these Grants go for the strategic point to cut off, I suppose. Conscripts Ura forward, getting right on top of that sniper. The sniper does hit retreat. Can he make it out of there? I believe he can. The conscripts are 4 in total, but they're not that good at shooting. Managing to do some extra damage to it, but with the med bunker now online, the sniper is going to be quite fine. But, you know, that goes to show that it was a very good decision for PauL.a.D. to actually build that med bunker, because had he not healed it up, considering the amount of damage he took right there, that would have been a certain death for his sniper if he was still damaged. Mortar does get brought onto the field for Cruz, deciding not to go for a Maxim or anything. Maxim machine gun does, of course, have a severe disadvantage against the sniper on the field. It has the benefit of a lot of members in the squad, but still, you know, just sitting there getting picked off by the sniper one by one, so understandable. And the mortar, of course, is an excellent tool that can potentially nail you a sniper kill, so very good. I like it. So conscripts capping on the left-hand side as they did force away the Grens. We see more conscripts and combat engineers flooding over to the right-hand side. We only have an MG42 on the field right now for PauL.a.D. covering that zone. The conscripts are going to move past its arc. Combat engineers moving down south. So the MG42 could get flanked here. Conscripts sitting at the point, not in range, and these conscripts going far north. They're actually going to run into the sniper. If they actually pop into this house, they have a shot of actually killing the sniper. But no, the sniper is now getting caught out there in the open. Can they throw the volley? Focus fire! Focus fire! Well, it's going to get some good shots in there, but only health damage. Not going to be killing that sniper. Sniper has received multiple health buffs and patches of days past, and yeah, it's not really going to die. Cruz a little bit too hot on that trigger. Detonates that satchel charge, demo charge, and kills 2 of the Grens, but, you know, doesn't actually kill the squad. If he had done it during the assault, maybe, like conscripts move up in assault, get some shots flying, potentially killing off the squad, but here, I mean, I suppose he did a little bit of health damage. Mortar taking some shots could potentially hit. That's a nice shot, but the Grens were already retreating, so a little bit of a waste of a demo charge there for Cruz. Feeling a little bit trigger happy there, trying to maybe score a kill. They were too spread apart. I mean, it was highly unlikely he would have gotten the kill. Combat engineers retreating from the right-hand side. We have Pios with flamethrowers now on the field. Conscripts taking some shots at them at range. They will be able to decap the point. And retreat just fine. So, PauL.a.D. holding. Grens going once again for the strategic point on the far left-hand side. Again, I don't actually understand this too much. Like, why do I see a lot of aggression going towards this point specifically? Like, I get that it's kind of like this point and it can cut off the entire sector, but, I mean, it's not doing it right now, so I don't know. I don't know, of course, these players far better than I am, so they obviously know something I don't. Grens engaging outside of the house here against the conscripts capturing the point. Their LMG doing massive damage at that close range. Conscripts down to 4 men. Gonna take some a little bit damage. No, the Grens decide to leave them along their way. So the Grens do go for the decap of this point, finally cutting off that fuel and the munitions. So I suppose that's probably like the faster way to do it, and that's why you do it in that sense. We'll see. And we do see Doctrine selection for both players. We have the shock rifle frontline tactics for Mr. Cruz, as he does have a shock troop squad on the field right now. Not exactly sure where it is, though. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Barely coming onto the field right now. We see Molotovs flying for Cruz in all directions. The house catching blaze, smoke pouring through the roof, and the Grens move out of the house as they do not want to sit in there. Conscripts do pop in, which is kind of weird. They are risking themselves getting burned to a crisp, but I suppose that's part of the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Part of the risk, you know, it comes with the territory, I suppose. Something like that I'm trying to say. Paul.A.D. did select his doctrine as well, going once again for the close air support doctrine. Last time around, we saw him use it, you know, relatively effectively, doing a lot of infantry strafes and getting them pinned down, and was even able to afford himself 2 Panzer IVs. So, good on him. Back at base, we do see the Battle Phase 2 has been acquired once again for Paul.A.D. So I can only assume he's going to be doing the same thing. I mean, I guess one of those kind of things where it says if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? He won the last game with basically this strategy, so he's just going to do it again and hope it takes him to victory. Risky maneuver, though, considering that, you know, you've already shown your hand to your opponent, so you could potentially, you know, get hard countered in a sense and lose. However, you know, Cruz is trying it this time around with the... Oh, sniper goes down there. A lapse of concentration there for Paul.A.D. Just leaves it sitting there in the front. I mean, I guess he was hoping that the MG could potentially suppress them and the sniper would just sit there picking them off. But the sniper goes down and Cruz must be feeling rather good about that. Shock troops on the left going for the fuel. Grens over here on the far left-hand side did go for the strategic point. Conscripts getting on top of them. They'd have access to Molotovs, but they're not going to toss them just yet. Shock troops are moving down south. The rifle grenade flies, gets a good hit on that conscript squad. Down to 1 man, forcing it to retreat. LMG could potentially pick up the guy on the retreat. Does a little bit of damage, but manages to keep it alive. Shock troops right on top of the Grens, going to try and finish them off. Down to 2 men, potentially down to 1 on the retreat, but it's going to make it out of there alive. It's too healthy. Yeah, there goes 1 more guy on the retreat, but the remaining guy has a lot of health, and those SMGs get less and less effective as range comes into effect. Mortar and conscripts moving over to the right-hand side. We do have... Huh. Conscript squad did die. Did I see it there? I don't think I did. No, I did. Just make sure I have that there. Shock troops on the right-hand side, pushing away 2 Gren squads at the same time. I mean, it was being supported by conscripts and even a combat engineer squad, so, you know, it's not all them, but, you know, they did most of the work, I suppose. MG42 over here on the right-hand side, managing to catch the shock troops and getting them suppressed. One of them is crawling right in front of the arc of fire, forcing them to retreat as they were getting pinned down. The MG42, though, had packed up and repositioned, so it wasn't necessary, but it was still unlikely they would have been able to break the suppression before they were, you know, pinned again, you know. Conscripts on the other side of the wall. We have a Gren very aggressively right at the front of Cruz's base. It's currently on the other side of the sandbag as it essentially is fighting against this conscript squad. But since it positioned itself right here, it was able to shoot down the mortar, forcing it to back the hell off. Conscripts do set up a nice volley there against the Grens. Down to 2 men, forcing them to retreat. The house in front of Cruz's base finally collapsing as it did catch fire. And all those TNT barrels are, you know, detonating. Grens, MGs, more MGs on the field, moving around the left-hand side for Paul as he's going to be capturing the left-hand side of the field. Right side, we have conscripts pushing forward, running into those LMGs. Once again, all the Grens for Paul.A.D. are equipped with LMGs as, you know, he has that doctrine. I didn't notice if he used the redistribute resources to do so. Can only assume he did, but, you know, even without it, though, you already know he's going to be dumping that fuel into that. Conscripts on the right-hand side, not really being able to match those Grens with weapons. Not going to have too much luck here. We have more conscripts pushing forward as shock troops lead the charge. Mortar currently set up back at base needs to be a little bit more aggressive. More aggressively placed to get some better shots and support. What has it done so far? 3 kills only so far, not even gotten veterancy 1, so yeah, it hasn't been doing that great. Needs to do something more. Pios moving straight through the center. I believe this is just a sweeping run. Taking that sweeper, making sure if we can catch any mines that Cruz has potentially laid down across the path. Not catching anything, as we haven't seen Cruz really use the mines. Now we see him lay down mines over here on the right-hand side, but I haven't really checked if he has been laying anything else other than that. I don't believe so. I haven't seen him. Did lay down the demo charge, but, you know, that didn't really work out that well.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
So conscripts moving over on the left-hand side. MG42 already set up to attack them. Grand Squad with an LMG supporting. Conscripts moving up to the flank on the MG42. MG42 instantly retreating as PauL.A.D doesn't want anything to do with it. We do see that a fuel cache has gone down for Paul. That was a very good, you know, decision in this location because it prevents, you know, this essentially of being cut off. Has to bring something heavier. We do have an AT gun on the field for Cruz, though, so he can easily take it down, but, you know, it requires a little bit more effort to break it. And, of course, that extra fuel, you know, can easily be transferred into munitions because of the redistribute resources, so it works in both directions. So the AT gun is going to be breaking that cache. Back at base, we still don't have... Ooh, no, so he's escalating to battle phase 3, so it looks like Paul, this time around, is going to be skipping tier 3 and going for tier 4, getting himself something heavier, which is understandable. He knows that there are shock troops on the field, so it's easy to assume that there is a, you know, shock rifle frontline tactics. It is one of the more popular doctrines for the Soviets, so it is easy for, you know, Paul to assume that he has that, and that means that KV-8s and IS-2s are a strong possibility. So what better way to deal with, you know, those tanks than get himself a Panther? So I am assuming that's why he's teching all that way up. Going to be utilizing the fuel to have at least a Panther on the field and then just use those munitions, I suppose. That is, of course, me assuming, and, you know, usually you don't want to do that, but what else can I do? So Pios pushing forward with their sweepers, getting right in front of all the infantry and getting torn up. A little bit too aggressive there, but it does get itself right on top of all the infantry. The infantry is going to get anti-infantry strafed. Not really that effective. I mean, usually an anti-infantry strafe serves the purpose of, you know, the pin, the suppression. Doesn't actually do that much damage. It's not, you know, the the Vico airborne strafe where it's just, you know, tore infantry apart. It does a good job at suppression. It does a little bit of damage and pins a lot of squads. But aside from that, I mean, probably want something heavier like the. I mean, even the anti-tank stream I think can do more damage. But you know, it's still okay to use. But usually you want to use it as a means to like maybe break an attacking infantry force. Like you see a big blob pushing, you strafe it, it gets pinned down, and then you can follow up with something else to wreck it and tear it apart. So anyways, we do have a KV-8 on the field for Cruz, so that gives him a very big, well, essentially power play right now moment. He can quickly deal with a lot of infantry. Going over to the left-hand side to try to deal with this MG42. Could potentially clear it out on the retreat. Pack gun is on the field for Paul, so he could do some damage here to the KV-8, but the KV-8 can easily wreck the pack gun. The pack gun taking some damage, taking some shots at the KV-8. KV-8 taking some damage right now. Fire flies at the pack gun. The pack gun going to try to move out of the way as the KV-8 has taken some damage. Approaching Drens are trying to get in range for potentially a Faust or something of that sort. Only getting themselves a little bit scorched, losing one of their members there on that Grand Squad, and being forced to back off and get healed once again. But again, like I said, that puts Paul in a very defensive position because he doesn't have what he needs just yet. He has the pack to be able to keep it at bay at the very least, but I mean, most of his squads on the field are, you know, easy targets there for the KV-8. The hell blew up? I heard something explode. Ah, over here on the right-hand side? Maybe. I mean, it was a Molotov, so that didn't seem much of an explosion, so I don't know what I missed. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, Paul has brought down his tier 4. Needs, I suppose, more resources to be able to build. How much is it for the Panther? 175, he's at 167, so I'm assuming that that is what he's waiting for. I mean, there's not really much else that he would get. I mean, he could get a Brumbar, I guess, but, I mean, I guess the Boomer would fare kind of okay against the KV-8 because the KV-8 doesn't really have that big of a gun. But as soon as the IS-2, I mean, the Boomer would get torn to shreds. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going for the Panther. So Grenz moving over on the right-hand side. A bit of a risky maneuver there for Paul, but he can't just simply sit in the base and not do anything. He has to move out. He is, of course, spreading out, sending stuff to the left and right, making sure that at least something has, you know, some type of potential to succeed, because the KV-8 can't be in both places at once. And now with the fuel acquired, I suppose he has to wait for the manpower. Yeah, 490, and it's about halfway there, so more than halfway. No. Ooh, sorry. Right-hand side, conscript's going to be capping on the northern part here. We do have those two Grenz squads engaging against the conscripts. Mortar shot does fly through the air, and the Grenz know that a hit on them could be devastating there, so they retreat instead, wanting to make sure that they can just stay alive. KV-8 does move in that direction, so that once again forces Paul to retreat. So now Paul really pretty much is pinned, has everything currently in the base. Going to be sending some infantry over on the left-hand side once again, but I mean, if he is essentially covering, I mean, if Cruz is covering the right, you know, effectively with having troops in there and such, you know, he can easily stop any movements to the right and force everything to go to the left, in which case the KV-8 would be able to, you know, be where it needs to be, essentially, doing a lot of damage to everything. Conscripts do manage to capture the strategic point outside of Paul's base in duress, essentially. Conscripts on the other side over here, not holed up inside the house, which is sitting there, you know, being able to take some shots. Grenz, though, with their LMGs, just wrecking that conscript squad, doing massive amounts of damage. KV-8 going to be moving here, going to get a very nice clump here of infantry. There goes the flamethrower burst, going to be doing a lot of damage. Faust will be going off, getting some crits there on the engine. Potentially doing some hard damage here. The PAG gun is in range to take another shot, but it's not currently in sight range. So that makes it so that Cruz is able to take his KV-8 out of there. The PAG gun could potentially continue to push, but I believe the KV-8 is... Ooh, it's potentially crushing all the hedges there. Yeah, it's going to move over to the right-hand side and just get repaired. Risky maneuver there, but Cruz is going to get himself... Oh, he's going for a second KV-8, getting a little bit greedy there, trying to maybe see if he can deal a death blow, but I think that's going to turn back and bite him in the ass, because we see, of course, that Paul is in fact getting himself that Panther that we talked about. So once the Panther hits the field, I mean, there are two AT guns, of course, that can combat it, but they're currently sitting over here on the right-hand side, not really supporting anything. So the KV-8s, at least one of them, is going to get torn apart by the Panther in the first engagement. The Panther should be able to take it apart and chase it down, especially this guy on the left-hand side. The AT guns are currently on the right, not in any position to defend. They can help the one that is currently injured, but the KV-8 is going to make itself known here against the MG. It's going for the squad over here, Pio squad on the far left-hand side, even probably going to be trying to chase it down, maybe? Well, maybe not. The shock troops have gotten to the front of the base, and they spot the Panther, so Cruz is aware that the Panther is there. The KV-8 is actually still trying to chase down that Pio squad. What is it trying to do? It's just going to get itself killed. Conscripts do Ura forward to trying to get in range of that Panther. Why? Don't exactly know. I mean, they're maybe trying to throw an AT grenade at it, but that's not going to do anything. The critical on the engine is not going to go through unless it's already damaged, so, you know, doesn't really do too much. KV-8 on the left-hand side manages to keep itself alive due to spotting there by Cruz. Managing to react in time, I suppose. Grenz at the front of the base, going to be trying to push forward. KV-8 pushing forward by itself. Going to get the flamethrower burst going. No, manages to not get a hit. AT gun moving up, getting some good hits on that Panther. And Cruz looking in a very dominant position here. May be able to potentially deal some type of killing blow. KV-8 moving over to the right-hand side. MG42 getting caught by the flames of an incendiary barrage. The KV-8 going to be finishing off the MG. But the MG is sitting in front of the base, so it's not going to be stolen here by Cruz. Paul does move up with his Panther. Hagan in the base, able to provide some additional support. KV-8's taking some damage, going to be moving back. And as good as the Panther is, of course, it has taken some bit of damage here, as they have AT guns at the front of the base. However, Cruz making a critical mistake right here, leaves the AT guns at the front of Paul's base, leaving one to be cleared out. And those guys are going to pick that up. That gives Paul a very, very good, well, not advantage exactly, but very nice pickup there, because, well, he gets a free AT gun, especially one that can throw an artillery barrage if he wanted to. Yeah, I mean, cruzz going a little bit too greedy, getting all the way to the front, not having any support there for the infantry, ends up losing his AT gun and gifting it to Paul. And that just makes it all the more difficult for those KV-8s to work, because, well, now there's 2 AT guns shooting at them, and the Panther, so that could tear through them very, very quickly. Still, though, cruzz sitting in a very comfortable position right now, has most of the map in his possession. Paul is currently cut off from the map. MG42 barely capturing or decapping that strategic point outside. Gonna be recapturing some territory on the left with all those Grenz, but, you know, resources do speak a different story, right? 32-4 when it comes to fuel. Sure, Paul doesn't exactly need a lot of fuel, but, you know, he can use it. So the KV-8 moves up, and like I said, with 2 AT guns on the field, that's a lot of damage going down to the KV-8. KV-8 down to about 25% strength. The Panther can't actually go on the hunt, and he is going. He's going to go straight at it. KV-8 going to get caught there on the open. Shot flies. Yep. cruzz making, again, a mistake right here. Going to be losing that KV-8. AT gun moving up. Not even set up to stop it. The Panther takes a shot, and down goes one of the KV-8s. AT gun taking a shot and doing some damage to the Panther, but, you know, not really being able to finish the job. AT guns for HOI-PauL.a.D are able to push back, and we do see a redistribute getting called in. An anti-tank strafe on top of KV-8, or what was it? Not sure what it was, although we did see an anti-infantry strafe on top of all these conscripts. Basically what I was talking about there, if you do it as a means of an attack, it's great. I mean, you get the squads pinned down, they're unable to do anything. The MG42 behind is actually able to keep some of them pinned down, and you can do a lot of damage. KV-8 setting itself right out in front of the AT guns, once again taking some damage. Panther moving up to assault. Conscripts forced to retreat as they're currently in the ground. We see a... what is that? Anti-tank? No? Anti-infantry? What the hell is that? Or is that just... oh, this is a reconnaissance pass. Never mind. I was like, what the hell is that? It's attacking. No, that was a green one. That's just the reconnaissance pass. HOI-PauL.a.D trying to see if he can spot maybe where the tanks stopped, but cruzz is just currently retreating. Everybody off the field, everybody move back to the base. Time to lick our wounds, recover, healed up, reinforce, and see if we can get ourselves back in it. Combat engineers need to quickly repair that tank, but yeah, I mean, oof. cruzz was in a very good position, but that got turned around very quickly there by Paul. Demo charge is over here on the left-hand side victory point. Was it maybe a demo charge that we saw explode? Or, well, that we heard explode, and that's what we were missing? I don't see any holes. I mean, there's one over here, but that was a long time ago. I don't know what I heard explode over here, but... I mean, there's a hole right there. Maybe that's it? I don't know. Anyways, doesn't really matter that much. Shock troops moving over on the right-hand side, not able to do too much. AT guns, once again we have 2 for cruzz, moving up. MG42 not being able to hold the line. Conscripts pushing forward, gonna get themselves on top of the AT guns. AT guns pulling back, gonna head straight for the base and not really suffer too much. Pyos moving forward with the sweeper, ready to whack the faces of those conscripts. Flamethrower burst behind them though, trying to do some damage as the conscripts are just tearing that Pyos squad apart. And the KV-8 behind the lines, trying to support against the Grenz. This is an okay spot to do so, as, you know, it has AT guns there for support, and the Panther can't really just go hunting. Conscript squad does get brought down to 1 man. Pyos squad down to 1 man as well. They're all forced to retreat. But the point does stay remaining in HOI-PauL.a.D's possession, so he's able to continue to get the resources of the left-hand side, putting him at a nice, very healthy 23 fuel. The same as cruzz, actually. Fuel-wise, though, we do see that cruzz has enough for his IS-2. Doesn't have the manpower, though, for it. And with the infantry on the field right now, he doesn't really have, you know, a lot of manpower. He's having to spend a lot to keep those troops working. So he's going to probably have to sacrifice the ability to reinforce this squad. He's going to leave it there at base for a while. And everything that goes back, just get it healed up and not reinforced, because he wants to get that IS-2 to maybe try and fight that Panther. KV-8 getting caught on the right-hand side with its literal pants down. Panther getting right on top of it. Gonna move itself and expose the rear armor, which is, you know, bad. Oh, AT guns take a nice shot and get a crit on the main gun. The Panther goes down, so the KV-8 is able to remain alive. AT guns do move up and potentially get some shots going on the KV-8, but the KV-8 moves out of the way as the AT guns get in the way. And the hedge over here on the left-hand side is forced to get crushed there by the KV-8 as the AT guns just keep getting in the way of that KV-8. Huh. Okay. So cruzz decides that he wants instead another KV-8, so it's an interesting choice. I mean, they can do a lot of damage, and of course, PauL.A.D's power comes from his infantry. Panther doesn't really do too much, but, you know, keep those KV-8s at bay, and, well, of course, kill them. But it doesn't do much to his infantry, unless he wants to try and crush them. So, yeah, I mean, it's weird to look at it, but it's a good decision there by cruzz to go for more KV-8s. This KV-8 over here on the left-hand side, though, not looking too fresh. Gets AT gunned on the ass. And down goes the KV-8, so at least cruzz still has another one since he spent the resources there. Manpower-wise and fuel-wise, he's, you know, relatively close to another, well, to being able to get to another IS-2, so he could just wait until he gets that fuel, and he'd probably have the manpower by then, so we'll see. KV-8, though, over here on the back, getting repaired by those combat engineers, as we do see the Panther moving around on the field. Now fully repaired. Gonna be moving in for the kill here on this KV-8. The AT guns are nowhere to be seen. Ah, there they are. We're here on the left-hand side. Managing to get a good barrage going there on the Panther. Conscripts, I believe, managed to throw an AT grenade before being forced to retreat. Getting a crit on the engine there for the Panther. Panther now forced to crawl its way back. Let's see if they were actually... yeah, they did. KV-8 on the left-hand side, catching that Grunt squad out in the open, gonna try and chase it down. Should be able to do a decent amount of damage to it. Actually, it doesn't. I mean, it does a lot of health damage, but there's still 3 of them alive. So technically, it's only 1 kill, because they're gonna get healed up. Ooh, Mortar nailing a nice shot there on that MG42. MG42 catching that conscript squad and getting it pinned down there on the open. And of course, is forced to retreat as the Mortar is unable to finish the job. Mortar has finally gotten Veterancy 2, you know, so it's doing better. It's only gotten 5 kills so far, though, but, you know, it's doing damage. In Veterancy 2, it does get more accuracy and rate of fire, so it should be able to start racking up some kills at this point. Conscript squad dies. Looks like it died right here, as we do have an S minefield for Mr. Paul laid down on the strategic point. So that's bad for cruzz. He does have sweepers, though, on both of his combat engineers, so he needs to go to the right-hand side and clear that. Or just send the KV-8 to, you know, crush everything. Conscripts trying to hold up against 2 Grunt squads. Not going to be able to do so. They are currently hiding behind that, Oh! A very nice attempt there by cruzz. Throws the Molotov at the Grunts. But the Grunts knew the same thing and throw a rifle grenade, eliminating an entire conscript squad. And cruzz just falling apart here. He was looking so strong at one point, but it started going pretty bad for him. He's already lost 2 KV-8s. Didn't get a chance to field his IS-2, which he probably would have been able to at this stage. Sweepers are trying to work here. No, they're just moving across. You know there's an S minefield. There you go. Sweepers moving back. They're going to try and clear that as minefield. Because otherwise, you know, once they move out of range, they cloak again, and anything caught under them, or on top of them, I guess, is going to get cleared out. So, yeah, you kind of want to make sure you can deal with that. So, Panther moving over to the right-hand side. The shock troops getting engaged here by everything. We have LMGs and such. Not a very nice position there for Mr. Cruzz's shock troops. Do throw a grenade into the house. Grunts manage to dodge that and pop back in. And the shock troops do end up retreating. AT guns are set up, but with the hedge little nub there, they're unable to actually get a shot off on the Panther. Mortar still on the field, getting some shots from a distance, throwing some shots into the house, trying to see if we can maybe flush out any squad from the inside. And cruzz does have the fuel once again for the IS-2 and is very near that manpower, so we'll see if this time around he decides to just wait for that one and get himself an IS-2. IS-2 is able to do pretty well against the Panther. The Panther is also able to hold up decently against an IS-2, especially with the frontal armor, but, you know, with AT guns in the mix, it's difficult to say. Reconnaissance flight right on top of everything. PauL.A.D now aware of everything he's doing. Back at base, the shock troops getting reinforced, as it looks like Cruz wants to have his troops back in working order before he actually does anything. Maybe it was here. I mean, there's a mine right there. Mine's getting placed, so maybe it was the mine that got hit there by Cruz. Oh, I mean, not Cruz, by Paul, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm not even going to go back to check. It's not that important. So, Paul backing off. Currently does have 2 of the victory points. Victory points are 285 to 205, so pretty close. Cruz still holding an 80-point lead, so, you know, he has a little bit of leeway there. Moving the conscripts over to the northern point. Not going to be able to do much against it as the MG42 was already set up and waiting for them. Forces their retreat. Far left-hand side, conscripts and shock troops engaging the Grand Squad. We see a anti-infantry strafe getting called in right on top of these conscripts, getting them pinned down. The other shock troop squad is, undamaged. Takes a rifle grenade to the face, but surprisingly enough manages to stay alive with not really too much happening at it. The mortar, however, is taking some shots. Why is it taking shots at it? Was it just told to barrage? The hell is going on? Why is the mortar attacking the shock troops? Like, the Soviet mortar is attacking its own troops, and it's kind of weird. Like, I think it actually did even get it from the kill, right? No. Okay, well, at least that's good. Okay, well, anyways. IS-2 does finally get brought onto the field, but it only gets brought in to see the final days of the KV-8, and anti-tank strafe going to be coming right on top of both. Manages to make an abandoned critical there on that KV-8. The Panther does move up to try and finish the job on the KV-8. Manages to do so, but it's currently sitting in front of 2 AT guns. Gonna get itself killed. The AT guns in potential range to eliminate it. Oh, manages to miss. The IS-2 missing again. Oh, IS-2, you suck. Could have potentially picked up the kill. That is potentially catastrophic there for Mr. Cruz. Could have put himself in an okay position there if he had picked up the kill on the Panther. Does catch both of the AT guns out of position as they're trying to back off. The IS-2 is not going to pursue, which I believe to be a mistake. He should have actually pursued there. The AT guns could have potentially gotten cleared out before they got into range to reinforce, and the Panther, we know, does not have a weapon. But IS-2 exercising caution, going to be backing off. We do have a Panzerwerfer on the field there for Mr. Paul.A.D. Throws a barrage into the center, hitting something. I think killing it outright. Oh, I think it was a combat engineer squad, yeah, because he had 2 with sweepers, so combat engineer squad getting cleared out there.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Grants continue to push forward. We still have four Grants on the field. Veterancy 3 for Paul, so his infantry is looking pretty strong. For Cruz, though, he has a Vet 3, Shock, and Conscript, so not too bad. Veterancy 2 Conscript as well, so it's kind of okay, but not looking too great. IS-2 back at base, gonna get healed up. Cruz, of course, could field yet another KV-8. Well, not just yet, but soon. A nasty rifle grenade nails the mortar. Mortar forced to pack up and retreat. Oh, nope, gets cleared out. Never mind. So Cruz manages to, well, not Cruz, but Paul manages to clear out the mortar, and Cruz loses his veterancy on the mortar. The weapon's still there, so it could, be picked up, and it does get picked up by the combat engineers. We'll get, should be able to get reinforced and such. More shock troops coming onto the field for Cruz. He knows he needs more infantry to fight one-on-one. Panther now back to full strength at the base for Paul, so he is looking great. IS-2 needs a little bit of care there, although it's still at about 90% strength, so, not too bad. But the 2 AT guns are still there, still active, and Paul is, not doing too great in the victory point count, though. He is down to 183. Cruz currently at 258. Is currently on the wrong side of a double cap, though, but he should be able to capture this victory point. Panther does move up, trying to go for potentially crushing. No, not going to crush or anything. The coaxial and the top gunner, the primary damage against infantry there for the Panther. IS-2 moves up, crushing the hedge in front of the base, trying to get some shots on the Panther, but only sets himself up inside both the pack gun and the AT gun. And Cruz could potentially be losing his IS-2 right here. Shots continue to fly. Main gun goes down. The Panther is on the hunt. Can he get a good penetration there on frontal armor? Shot flies. No, manages to break line of sight. Rounding the corner, the AT guns are sitting in front of the Panther. The IS-2 is trying to play ring around the house. We see an anti-tank strafe coming down right on top of the AT guns. where potentially the... Well, no. Yeah, it does manage to do some damage to the AT guns, but the AT gun's still alive. The pack gun and the stolen AT gun for Paul is currently back there, but the IS-2 backs itself off into a corner. It can't actually move the way back to base, getting itself in here. The AT guns are still trying to pursue. Very low in health. Kitty's cleared out. Behind them, a Garand squad is going to clear them out. Shots continue to fly, getting some good hits on the rear armor, but the AT gun is down to 2 men. Can the Garands clear it off before it gets another shot? No! Down goes the Panther, and it gets abandoned. Oh my god, the conscripts are going to go for the cap, but PauL.A.D is going to push forward and get a Faust going with the Garands, and he's going to be able to kill it off, and that's going to be some manpower loss there for Cruz. Getting a little bit too greedy there. The shock troops pushing forward. Can they get on top of the Garands? Oh, the pack guns are going to catch both of the tanks out of position. They are locked into a corner. The Panther trying to move its way back and see if it can fit through that gap in the map, but it won't be able to do so. AT guns are forced back as the shock troops are unable to finish the job. The pack guns, the AT guns moving forward. We have both tanks still locked there in the corner. Cruz literally putting himself in a timeout in the corner. AT gun going to be finishing off his stolen Panther. There goes his manpower loss there to the conscripts. The conscripts are also sitting there in front of these Garands. They're going to get themselves killed. Get the conscripts out of there. Oh, he's microing the tank. He's not realizing that the conscript squad veteran C3 is going to get lost. Cruz just falling apart in a moment. It retreats too late, and down goes the conscript squad. IS-2 still hiding here, getting some shots into the house with its gunner on top, but the AT gun is just moving in front of it. Going to be able to clear it out. Going to be trying to play here and move around. The pack gun is currently sitting there. Gunner on top doing a decent job there, but no. Shot flies. Down goes the IS-2. And Cruz. Oh, that was painful to look at. You have to keep that in mind every single time. This part of the map over here, you can't get your tanks out of there. I mean, unless you maybe bomb this and collapse the tree or something in some way, but, you know, even with your heavy crush, you can't crush that tree. It's impassable terrain, and yeah, I mean, light vehicles are the only things that can make it through there. Like maybe a T-70, something that size can make it through there. It has to be small, but yeah. Ugh, it was a very, very nice effort there for Cruz to try and keep his IS-2 alive. And fortune almost looked down upon him as the Panther got decrewed. But yeah, I mean, jeez. That sucked for him. So Cruz taking massive amounts of damage. You can see him now down to only 2 shock troops. And I guess he got veteran C3 on that other shock troop squad, which is nice. Recovers one of the AT guns. The other AT gun is still there for the taking, but doesn't currently have the ability to take it. The mortar is also there on the floor as it got decrewed once again, but could be recovered and, you know, taken back. Oh, no, don't kill yourselves. Oh, no. Unfortunate for Cruz. He loses one of the combat engineers as he's going for the mortar, so the squad itself is lost. So he no longer has sweepers, which means that if any mines go down for Paul, he's going to have a bad time. Second AT gun does get recovered here, as Cruz, of course, does not want to let Paul have another one, and at the same time doesn't want to be in a position where he doesn't have any way to fight vehicles. And, what happened here? We see that Paul lost the AT gun to what? Was there a mine right there? I mean, there's an explosion there, so it looks like it might have been a mine. Didn't actually see it. Doesn't actually matter at this stage of the game, I suppose. Far left-hand side, shock troops did go for the victory point. They run themselves into an S minefield, although they managed to miss most of it, and do have heavy cover by the wreckage of that KV-8. Mortar squad is going to run itself into the Garands, so it quickly turns itself around. Conscripts moving forward, going to be trying to support the shock troops. The shock troops do manage to decap the point, but they don't manage to finish the cap. They're going to rush forward, trying to bum rush the Garand squad. The LMG and the Garand squad doing a lot of damage. Second Garand squad there nearby for support. They do manage to push away that Garand squad by themselves, bring it down to 2 men. Going to be moving on top of the Garands, but now down to 4 men. They don't have a lot of firepower, and with a second Garand squad behind it, those shock troops are unable to really do too much. And a new Panther hits the field for Paul, signaling the end essentially there for Cruz. Does have the fuel for a KV-8 if he wanted to, but you know, he'd be fooled to get a KV-8. It's a Panther and AT guns on the field. PauL.A.D does get himself a pack gun, which is nice. Nice for him. And conscripts over here capturing territory in front of bullets flying at their face. Combat engineers capping us. Cruz is forced to make another combat engineer squad since his other one decided that they wanted to be a mortar team now instead of combat engineers. They put down the wrench and they picked up a mortar. So Cruz does decide to go for the KV-8, wanting to see if that can keep him in the game. 142 to 168. Cruz is now down on the victory points and on the wrong side of a triple cap. So this could come to an end very quickly if it is simply the victory points. So the KV-8 probably going to be moving over to the right-hand side. The Panzer Warfare has done 6 kills, about halfway in the veterancy. So, you know, it's okay. Shock troops moving over to the right-hand side, managing to see the wreckage there of their potentially stolen Panther. Shock troops popping into the house as they did run themselves into the MG42. Everybody retreats from the right-hand side, but the point is probably not going to get capped. Shock troops actually continue to go forward. Now they go back. They're going to go for the point, and I can only assume that Paul is going to throw an anti-tank strafe. I mean, anti-infantry strafe on top of it. Maybe not. Maybe he's going to leave it just cap. He's in a strong position. KV-8 moving forward, forcing the retreat of the infantry, as Paul definitely doesn't want to lose his infantry. Those veterancy 3 grunts are quite marvelous. Marvelous? Marvelous. Faust does go off on the KV-8, getting the crit on the engine. The Panther now is potentially in a position to take it out. KV-8 is going to be taking shots at the rear. Oh, very low in health. Rear armor hit. Oh, down goes the KV-8. And with that, the GG for Cruz throws in the towel. And that is all she wrote. So Cruz gets knocked out of the competition, and Paul comes back from a 1-0 deficit to win the series and pull himself back into the competition. So very well played for both. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.